I do want to ask you about this, though, because we're talking so much about the strength of the game right now and how the game is booming. And you probably know this. I come from that green grass side of the game.
Yep.
But is it not ironic that while it's booming on the 99.99% level of the game, at the game's highest competitive tiers, the game is in somewhat, is it fair to say, disarray? How do you view that kind of dichotomy?
Yeah, well, look, I think the latter is part of the former, right? Golf is hot, and golf, therefore, was I don't want to say vulnerable, but was, well, I would say vulnerable. It was open to disruption because it's a rising market, number one, and therefore that, and disruption is always going to make you better, and I think it will. It's been hard to deal with in every form, but it is a wake-up call to everybody to say, okay, what we've been doing for a really long time, do we need to think about it in slightly different ways and do it better? And I think the tour has responded to that in a big way. And so, look, we would like the game to come back together. We do not think this fracture is good for the game. We don't think on the professional level we're a big enough sport to support two leagues. It's hard to compete against a business model that really isn't economically sustainable, and so I have a lot of sympathy for what the tour has gone through to try and deal with that. But we hope that it does come together, and it's obviously attracted in the form of SSG, significant investment dollars that believe in the power of the game and where it's going, and that's a real advertisement for the game. We think it's going to change the dynamic kind of forever, in the sense that there is a for-profit entity now. We've all been non-for-profits that have been frenemies. We compete on on a variety of things, but we certainly cooperate for the betterment of the game and always have. And I don't suggest that SSG is a different perspective than that, but they do have investors and need return, and therefore that will change the dynamic of things going forward. It's affected us. Our purse has doubled in the time that I've been here, which is 5.5 years, and we've had to adjust to do that. It hasn't disrupted what we do every day to promote our mission, but we've had to make certain adjustments. So look, we're like everybody else, waiting to see how it all unfolds from here. And again, I choose to think about it. We choose to think about it as an opportunity. How do you, again, in the same way that COVID was that, how do we, come out of it stronger than we've ever been? We're fortunate to have the assets we have. We have, what we would argue is, one, if not the most valuable asset through the KPMG in the women's game. And in the men's game, we have, 1.5 of the 5, waterfront properties, if you will, in the form of the PGA Championship and half the Ryder Cup. So, our brand is very strong. Our mission, we'll always sort of look at this as, how do we set ourselves up for another 100 years? And how do we, protect our mission, and how do we nurture and our assets to the betterment of the game and our membership.